We're planning something big, they said for my birthday. I flew 11 hours home and found an empty house, a cake in the trash, and a sticky note on the fridge. We used your money, 134,000 euros, for the apartment. Then my sister Lucia texted me, "Thanks for the upgrade, bro." I just stood there. 7 years of savings gone. The next morning, from my phone, I sold the house. That's how it all started. Because inside a box in the attic. I hope you're ready, Lucia laughed on the phone. We planned something big. 11 hours. I flew 11 hours. As soon as I got off the plane, I felt something was wrong. No messages. No one picked me up. Just silence. I arrived at the house, our old house, the one I helped renovate, where I paid for the new floor, the refrigerator, even that smart doorbell that never rang when I pressed it. Only the echo of my knuckles. No one answered. The door wasn't locked. I went in and knew instantly. Something was wrong. The lights off, the living room empty, half-open boxes, shoes on the floor as if someone had left in a hurry. And then I saw it on the fridge. A crooked yellow sticky note in Lucia's unmistakable handwriting. We used your money, 134,000 euros. We bought the apartment. Enjoy your visit. The cake was still on the counter, smashed, half of it in the trash. Happy birthday written in red frosting, like a crime scene. My phone vibrated. A message from Lucia. Thanks for the upgrade. Bro, seriously, it's beautiful. That was it. That was the party. That was there something big. 7 years of savings. Every raise I didn't celebrate, every vacation I didn't take, every extra job, every lonely dinner in front of spreadsheets and budgeting apps. Gone. They took it all. They didn't even try to hide it. I stood there in that cold, silent house, looking at the note, the cake, the void that used to be called home. And I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I opened the real estate app on my phone, and right there, in that ravaged kitchen, I sold the house in less than 10 minutes. No drama, no warning. And that was just the beginning, because upstairs, in the attic, there was a box they should have burned, but they didn't. And now, that changed everything. For the first 3 years after college, I sent money home every month. I started with 500 euros, just until we get back on our feet, Dad said. Lucia had just lost her job, again, and Mom's medications weren't covered, and there was a leak in the pipes, and apparently I was the only one in the whole family who had a PayPal account. Then it was 1,000 euros, then 2,000 euros. I moved into a smaller apartment just so I could keep helping. They called it help. I called it an obligation until it was no longer an option. I paid for Lucia's nursing school. She dropped out in the second semester. I bought Dad a new transmission for his van. He sold it 3 months later to try his hand at cryptocurrency. Mom said they were saving for retirement, but somehow they ended up in Formentera for Lucia's birthday, not mine. And I didn't say a word because that's what I was taught to do. I was the reliable one. The investment. They never said thank you, not once. When I transferred 8,000 euros for a property tax emergency, all I got was a thumbs-up emoji from Dad and a meme from Lucia. Family is when your wallet doesn't need a pin. It was supposed to be a joke, but last year, I stopped laughing. They invited me for Christmas. I didn't go. Work was crushing me. I told them I'd video call, maybe send gifts ahead. They never replied. Instead, on Christmas morning, I logged onto Facebook and saw a photo of them in matching pajamas under a giant tree, opening presents. My presents. Caption, together with the people who matter most. The tags, Lucia, Mom, Dad, even Lucia's boyfriend, Diego. Me, not a mention. I commented, Happy Christmas. They deleted it. 2 weeks later, I got a message from Lucia. Hey, can you help me with the down payment for the apartment? I'll pay you back with my next tax return. Love you. That was before the theft, before I took the flight back, before I opened the attic and found the box. But let's rewind a bit, because before the attic came the chat. They added me to a new family group. I thought, Maybe it's a sign of reconciliation. It wasn't. It was Lucia sending selfies from her new home, champagne glass in hand, with a message that said, "Manifesting works." Dad replied, "Well deserved, little princess." Mom added, "Couldn't have happened to a better daughter." And then Lucia dropped the real bomb. "I got the apartment thanks to our favorite silent investor." She attached a screenshot. It was my bank account. Not a mock-up, not an imitation. My real account, down to the last cent, 134,712 euros withdrawn. 3 separate transactions, precise, surgical, stolen. And then the comment that chilled my blood. It just took a little password magic. Bless her tech skills. They knew. They knew my security questions. They knew the 2-factor authentication codes. They used me like a pawn and laughed while doing it. And I didn't even know how deep it all went until I went up to the attic. When I sold the house that night, I asked the real estate agent, Marta, to give me a week to collect my things. I wanted to take one last look. That's when I found the box labeled Tax Documents 2021. Inside weren't taxes, just files, photos, screenshots, printouts of my old emails, personal things, messages with my ex, Clara, even a journal I had scanned into Evernote. Somehow they had printed it. And a second folder, Plan B, in case he finds out. It was full of fake evidence. Photos of Lucia with bruises, clearly photoshopped if you looked closely. Emails from me that I never wrote. A fake letter admitting guilt with my signature scanned and pasted at the bottom. They were prepared. They were going to frame me. If I had gone to the police, they had an alternative story ready, that I was mentally unstable, that I had been violent, that I had a history of controlling behavior. Lucia had pre-written statements. Mom had notes. Dad had AI-edited voice clips. They didn't just take advantage of me, they knew exactly what they were doing. But I didn't panic. I scanned everything, backed it up, uploaded it to the cloud, and then emailed it to my lawyer friend, Tomas, in Zaragoza with the subject line, "If anything happens to me, start here. If anything happens to me, start here." The next morning, I made my real move. I called the real estate agent. "Break the sales contract," I said. "We're doing this cash fast." Because now it wasn't just about leaving, it was about accountability. And it was all going to start with a dinner they never expected to be invited to. They thought I would disappear, that I'd shut up, lick my wounds, and go back across the ocean like a good scapegoat. Instead, I sent a group message that same night. "Dinner. 7 p.m. At the same place where you scammed me. Everyone come." Lucia replied with a laughing emoji. Mom said, "Let's not make a drama, dear." Dad just wrote, "If you're coming to apologize, be early." Perfect. I booked a private room at the back of a downtown restaurant, the same one where they had celebrated Lucia's fake apartment purchase last month. I made sure the staff gave us privacy. I made sure Tomas, my lawyer, was sitting at the bar nearby. I made sure the envelope on my table contained everything. At 6:56 p.m., they walked in. Lucia first, full makeup, tight white dress, designer handbag I knew I'd paid for. Mom behind her, tense, scanning the room as if entering an intervention. Dad last, shoulders back, walking with a heavy, false confidence. He was already frowning before he sat down. "You have 5 minutes," he snapped. I smiled. "Better double that." No one ordered food. I didn't allow it. I put the envelope on the table and slid it towards them. Lucia laughed. "What's this?" "Divorce papers." "No," I said. "The truth." I took out my phone and pressed play. At first, it was just rough audio with background noise, but recognizable. My voice. I'm not comfortable transferring that amount without documents. Then Lucia's. "Oh, please, don't be so controlling. It's family." The clip ended. Lucia's smile began to waver. I moved to the next file. A screen recording of her Facebook Messenger. Her typing, he won't even notice. He never checks his backups. I zoomed in on the timestamp. Dad's eyes narrowed. "I don't know what this is supposed to prove," he muttered. I leaned forward. Okay, let's fast forward. I pulled out the printed screenshots from the attic folder, emails, photos, the forged messages. And then I pulled out one more thing. The flash drive. Lucia's face lost all color. You went through my things? No, I said. You left them in my attic, in my house, on the hard drive labeled Do Not Delete, Private. Dad frowned, confused. What hard drive? I plugged the USB into the small laptop I had brought with me. A folder appeared, Plan B 2024. Fake emails B, bruises, BCZ1, audio BMZB. Ready, Mom whispered. What is this? I opened the audio folder. I played the file titled Threat_Rough McSlow. My voice choppy and fake. You're nobody. I always hated you. Get out. It was ridiculously bad if you listened for more than 5 seconds. The tone changed mid-sentence. The background noise was completely different. But they had saved it. Who did this? Dad growled. Lucia remained silent. I turned the screen towards them and played the screen recording, Lucia editing the audio file on her laptop. Her username was clearly visible in the corner. You tried to make me look guilty, I said calmly, with fake audios, invented emails, modified screenshots, and you planned to use it if I ever defended myself. You broke into my files, she suddenly yelled. You left them on my property, in a box I paid for, in a house you stole from me. Then I did the last thing. I opened the voice memo app on my phone. I didn't just come to show you what you did. I came to show you what's going to happen now. I pressed record and placed the phone on the table. Dad growled, turn that off. Say hi, I smiled. We're being recorded. They shifted. Lucia tried to swat the phone away, but I caught her wrist mid-motion. If you touch it again, I'll have to escalate this legally. That's when it all started to crack. Mom whispered, we didn't want it to go this far. I looked her straight in the eye. How far did you want it to go? When you emptied my account. When you built a case against me. When you signed the apartment transfer in my name without asking me. Dad shot up, the chair scraping. You never appreciated anything. After everything we did for you. You did nothing. I yelled, also standing up. You just took. You lied. You watched everything I built come crashing down. Lucia grabbed her bag as if to flee. I'd sit down if I were you, I told her. We're not finished. Then the door opened again, and my companion walked in. Her name was Raquel, Lucia's ex-roommate, the same one Lucia tried to frame last year for the missing laptop. Raquel had the real story. I'd invited her to dinner. Hi, Lucia, she said sweetly. Miss me? Lucia froze. I turned my gaze back to the table. Raquel gave me the original audios you manipulated, the emails you faked, even the messages where you bragged about how easy it was to fool me. Dad looked at Lucia as if she had just exploded in front of him. She's lying, she whispered. Raquel took out her phone. Then why are you in this video telling her how to fake bruises? Time-stamped, unedited. I sat down slowly. I folded my hands on the table. You don't have to admit anything tonight, but this is what's going to happen. I tapped the envelope with my finger. This package goes to the police. This flash drive goes to my lawyer. And every file, every lie, is backed up 10 times. You wouldn't dare, Dad spat. I leaned forward. I already have. Mom started crying. Lucia was trembling. Dad stood still, fists clenched, defeated. You used my money to buy her an apartment, I said quietly. You tried to leave me out. I'm walking away forever. I picked up my coat, put the flash drive in my pocket, looked them all in the eye. I'm no longer your son, you're not my family, you're no longer part of my life. And I walked out. Raquel followed me. We left them there, in their silence, in their false stories, in their collapse. Outside, the air was cold, clean, and for the first time in 7 years, I breathed like a free man. I didn't just walk out of that restaurant. I walked into a war room. The next morning, the envelope, the flash drive, and a 10-page summary were on Inspector Javier's desk at the Economic Crimes Division. At first, He gave me that typical half smile, the one they give when they hear about a family dispute over money. Then he pressed play on the first audio file. He didn't smile again. "Do you have more?" he asked. I handed him a printed breakdown of the bank transfers, all linked to my stolen credentials, my looted accounts, and the apartment mortgage documents signed with my full legal name. Forged, sealed, used. "You know this can have very serious legal consequences," he said, raising his eyebrows. "I know exactly what it is," I replied, "and I'm pressing charges." He nodded slowly. "This could get ugly." I smiled. "I hope so." In less than 48 hours, I received the first confirmation. The apartment Lucia bought with my money was under immediate financial investigation. Title blocked. Fraud complaint in progress. Temporary freeze on property transfers. The apartment she bragged about on Instagram. Now it was legally untouchable. Then came the second wave. I filed a civil lawsuit. Identity theft, economic damages, malicious intent. My lawyer attached all the evidence from the attic hard drive, the manipulated audios, the faked emails, and the planning folder literally titled "In Case He Finds Out." We served Lucia with the lawsuit at 8:02 a.m. on a Monday. She was wearing a bathrobe. The process server said she screamed. Dad was next. He didn't know I had found the falsified tax returns. You see, when they took my money, they also moved it through 3 accounts, and one of them was his company account, which meant he declared the stolen funds as income. That little detail turned my case into a federal matter. Tax fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion. He received his letter by certified courier, return receipt requested. He refused to sign for it. It didn't matter. The next day, my lawyer received a voicemail from Dad's lawyer. "Can we talk about a settlement?" I told them to talk to the court. Mom was the last to react. I thought she'd stay quiet, hiding behind her usual "I didn't know anything." But 2 days later, Mom posted a 3-paragraph Facebook status. White background, black text. "Sometimes children turn against you, no matter how much you've loved them. I raised mine alone when no one else did. I was with them through every struggle, and this is how they repay me." He's suing his own family for money. If you know me, you know the truth. It got 63 likes. All family, all accomplices. What they didn't know was that I had already sent a separate package to Child Protective Services. Remember that apartment? Lucia had custody of her 2 children, the same ones she left alone during her girls' trips while I paid for everything. Screenshots, dates, photos. Social services opened a case in less than 72 hours. I didn't even have to speak. The evidence spoke for itself. And still, none of them called me, not to apologize, not to deny it. Just silence until the news broke. Local newspaper. A small column in the metropolitan section. Family dispute over apartment uncovers investigation for fraud, identity theft at the center of civil lawsuit. No names, but the photo was unmistakable. Lucia on the courthouse steps. Sunglasses, hoodie, head down. That same night, I received a voicemail from her. Not a call, just a recording. "You ruined everything. Are you happy now? You were always jealous." I saved it. I added it to the folder, titled it Last Words. But the real satisfaction didn't come from the lawsuits, or the blocked apartment, or the court dates. It came from watching them fall apart. Dad tried to sell one of his vans, only to find out his accounts were frozen. Lucia tried to rent out her apartment. Denied, flagged for financial dispute. Mom started a campaign on donationsfamiliars.com. Title: Single mother attacked by her estranged son. She raised €47. 47 euros. I didn't respond, I didn't comment, I just kept moving forward. Because while they were playing victims, I was building. I launched my project, the one I had postponed for years, because they always needed something. My own firm. Small, agile, 100% digital, fully remote. I called it Grupo Renacer Rebirth Group, a name I chose for 2 reasons. First, because that's what I was doing, being reborn. Second, because I knew that one day Lucia would Google it and see she wasn't invited. I didn't tell anyone, but my first client was an anti-cybercrime NGO. They asked me if I could speak at an event next spring. Panel title: What happens when the call comes from inside the house? I accepted. And when I signed the speaker contract, I used a new signature, one I had never used before, one they couldn't forge because they no longer owned me. A week after leaving that restaurant, an envelope arrived. Legal size, handwritten label, no return address. Inside was a letter, not from the court, but from my parents' lawyer. Soft, pathetic, slippery. Given the emotional state of all parties involved, our clients deem it reasonable to explore a less confrontational resolution to the matter. Translation: they wanted out of trouble without consequences, without accountability. They thought maybe I'd calm down, maybe I'd remember birthdays, maybe I'd give in. They still didn't get it. I didn't respond. Instead, I went online to a small, underfunded NGO I had bookmarked months ago, Initiativa Renacer Rebirth Initiative, focused on helping adults recover from financial and emotional abuse by their family. On their donation page, there was a single sentence: give back what was taken from you and reclaim what is yours. I entered the amount, €1,340. Deliberate. Symbolic. Every digit meant something. 134. The thousands they stole from me. 0. The second chances I had left to give. I pressed donate. The confirmation appeared. Donation completed. Anonymous donor. I took a screenshot, then posted it on Instagram, no caption, just the receipt. Gray background, the text, amount, €1,340. Thank you for your support. 30 minutes later, Mom called. I didn't answer. An hour later, Lucia texted, "What is that post? Is it another attack?" I didn't even open the message. I blocked her. The next morning, I updated my company's website. Just one sentence under the logo: some families break you. Others teach you how to rebuild. No names, no explanations, just truth. That night, Marcos, Lucia's ex, texted me for the first time in months. Saw what you posted, man. Did you really end it? I replied, I didn't end it. I overcame it. And that was the difference. There was no explosion, no final confrontation, no courtroom drama with yelling and witnesses, just silence. A beautiful, heavy, unbreakable silence. They stopped calling, stopped posting, stopped pretending. I was already out of their reach and inside my own life. I changed my number. I moved into the apartment I had been quietly renovating for months. Even the dog, the one I originally paid for as a gift for Lucia, now lived with me. His name is Chance because everyone deserves at least one chance, but not everyone gets two. This morning, I sat by the window with coffee and silence. No fake group chats, no calls asking for help, no obligations disguised as love, just peace. I opened the hard drive, the one from the attic, one last time. I went through every folder, every lie, every manipulated audio file, every fake screenshot, every digital betrayal, and I deleted them, one by one, until only one file remained. It was called family.mp3. I right-clicked. Delete. Then I emptied the trash. The screen asked, "Are you sure you want to permanently delete family.mp3? I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was perfect. Yes, I'm sure. They took everything they could, so I turned it into something they can never have: peace. Not just the absence of noise, the absence of them. I'm no longer the backup plan, nor the investor, nor the fixer, nor the son they can shame or call when it suits them. Now I'm just a man with silence and a receipt.